What is going on, YouTube? It's your boy Spanko, and today we're back with Tony, and he's doing more deck profiles for us.
Yes.
And today you have Sacred Beasts.
Yes, I have Sacred Beasts. This is something that came out, I think, last week, so I figured you might as well like live on the hype right now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And do you have anything to say about the deck before we go into it?
Honestly, I thought this deck would be a lot worse, but it actually turned out to be rather functional compared to like some of the other like structure decks where they could just give you unplayable crap. This turned out pretty decent.
All right, you want to get right into it?
Okay.
Perfect.
So to start off, we play 3 Hamon. What is Hamon? Well, Hamon is an ancient breeding technique that used to slay Aztec gods and vampires.
Is this a JoJo reference?
It's definitely a JoJo reference.
Right.
But more importantly, it's a level 10 monster, thunder monster. It can only be summoned by sacking 3 continuous spell cards. So it's kind of hard to summon. But rocking 4,000 attack and 4,000 defense, every time it runs over a monster, it burns 1,000. And if it's a defense position, it's the only thing that can be targeted. So technically, if you have double Hamon on the field, your opponent can't attack. But this card was released in like, what, 2005 or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's been pretty outdated. Moving on from there, we have the newest support, 3 Dark Beckoning Beast. Dark Beckoning Beast has 2 effects. First off, when it's normal summon, you can search for any, I think, any fiend monster with 0 attack and 0 defense.
Yeah, I think that's...
Oh, no, sorry. That's the other card. This lets you search for any card that specifically lists any of the Sacred Beasts in its text.
Okay.
So it's any card. This is different from another card that only searches monsters, but essentially this is your search for the deck.
So quick question. Hamon's the only Sacred Beast you're playing?
Yes, and I'll get into that, why that's specifically the case.
Interesting, okay.
In a bit. But the idea behind this card is that this searches your entire deck, but it also has an additional effect where once per turn you could summon one 0 attack or 0 defense fiend monster from your hand as an additional normal summon. This means that you can play these 2. 3 Chaos Summoning Beast and 3 Dark Summoning Beast.
Yep.
These are the cards that essentially will let you cheat out your Sacred Beast monster. Considering how hard it is to actually resolve Hamon's effect, because of how specific it is, these cards can do that. Chaos Summoning Beast can summon a Sacred Beast monster from your hand. Dark Summoning Beast, on the other hand, can summon it from the deck, but you can attack this turn. So the benefit of Chaos Beast is that you can attack on the turn you drop it, but Summoning Beast you can't. What's different, however, is that they also have a Graveyard Banish effect. You can banish Dark Summoning Beast from the graveyard to search for any other Sacred Beast monster. Yep. Raviel, Hamon, Uri. In this case, you only play Hamon, so just Hamon. Chaos Summoning Beast, however, can banish itself to search another card called Fallen Paradise, which is also pretty key for the deck.
It protects the Sacred Beast.
Right? Oh, there's more than just protect Sacred Beasts.
Well, I know you get the draw too. So
Oh yeah, there's that. Yeah.
All right.
So next up, we play then the only real expensive card in the deck: Magician's Soul and a Exodius. So Exodius is a dark spellcaster, which means you can technically dump it for your Magician's Soul.
Yep.
Furthermore, the effect to send spell and traps to draw cards is actually really useful. Because you're playing a more Hamon fake focused deck, you actually have a lot of spell and traps that you can really send after using it for the first time. Furthermore, because Exodius is a level 10 monster, if you do draw into it, you do get some benefits for it being a level 10 monster going forward.
Okay.
It's an additional monster spam, it's a draw card, all in all pretty good.
Okay. I mean, that sounds... The Souls is different, but I guess it synergizes pretty well.
Yeah, I think I got the idea from like Exordio. That's when I initially saw it, and I thought I slowly realized how decent it was.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on, we have another 3 effect failure. So Hamon decks generally have a lot of good defense against spell traps, but you generally lose to monster effects. This deck can lose to a unicorn, and that really sucks. So having 3 Veiler, always good.
Yep.
From there we have the spell and traps. We have 3 Opening of the Spirit Gates. Opening the Spirit Gates, when it's activated, has a very similar effect to Dark Summoning Beast. Dark Beckoning Beast. Except instead of searching a card, it only searches a monster that lists one of the 3 Sacred Beasts.
Okay.
Furthermore, it has a second effect where you could discard a card from your hand. First off, you control a level 10 monster.
Yep.
So yes, Exodius works in this case.
So Exodius or Hamon in this case.
Exodius or Hamon.
Yep.
You could discard 1 card from your hand to special summon one fiend monster with 0 attack or 0 defense.
Okay.
Got that. So it's kind of hard to explain it over and over again, but it's just pretty much any of these. These are all 0 attack.
Any of the new monsters or the baby Sacred Beast kind of things. Okay.
It also has an additional effect where if you control a level 10 monster, I think that's the actual effect though. If you control a level 10 monster, you can add back 1 continuous spell or trap card or 1 continuous spell card.
Yep.
So this is kind of useful because that means essentially if you ever play any continuous cards like Prohibition or the next card, which is 3 Cerulean Skyfire, you can add it back to the hand if it was ever sent to the graveyard. Now, Cerulean Skyfire is the Hamon-focused support for the Sacred Beasts.
Yep.
It has, again, a plethora of effects. First off, all these effects are practically things that the Hamon had in the anime, but they just kind of retconned it into a new card.
Okay.
First off, to summon Hamon, you can use face-down spells as well.
Okay.
What I didn't know at the time when I first read it was that you can use any face-down spell. It doesn't have to be a continuous spell anymore.
Okay.
So in the case that you open some dead spells, you can send them as well. Second off, while you control a face-up attack position Hamon monster, if your opponent activates a spell or trap, you can negate the effect on resolution and then turn your Hamon to defense.
Okay.
So this is very similar to something like Abyss Scale Mizuchi. It applies its effect as a continuous effect. It doesn't activate, which means you can get around things like super poly or unresponsible things in that way. It also works against chain blocking just as well. Lastly, it has an additional, has a third effect where if your Sacred Beast monsters will be run over by battle, you take no bad damage for this turn. So it's additional functional use. And with that, it's also, this is where I kind of want to go into why I'm only playing Hamon. So it revolves around the idea of how I build decks. And it's around the idea of what an optimal deck is. Mm-hmm. An optimal deck to me is not necessarily a deck that can do a lot of things, but it's a deck that can do one specific thing really well.
Makes sense.
Think Adamantimators. They always have an end board to go by, and they always focus on that end board. It's not like in the end of the day they can do it in multiple different routes, but it's still one direction.
Yep.
With Sacred Beasts, however, and their support, that doesn't quite apply, because I realized as I was testing the cards that all the Sacred Beasts do very different things. And because of that, so does their support cards. So let's look at this for a second. You have Hamon here who focuses on tempo damage. You burn, you defend.
Yep.
His spell and trap card focuses that further by being able to do spell negation and protect you. It's more utility based.
Yep.
Raviel can sack monsters to gain attack, and a support card makes his attack even bigger. So it's definitely revolving around big damage.
Yep.
Uriah just makes me sad because practically all he does is, it's like a weird trap-focused deck, but clearly it just was a lot of, its support card was more meant to fix the underpowering that this card had when it first came out.
So it's like a bad Floodgate.
It's a bad recursion card.
Oh, there you go.
Like it's all like, for example, this card only gains attack when it's based off continuous spells and traps in the graveyard, but then this card makes it so it gains attack for all traps. But because you're playing a Sacred Beast deck, it's also kind of hard to get traps in the graveyard anyway.
Traps, yeah.
So it's bad.
So you're saying though, in theory, because right now you're doing a Hamon focus, but in theory you could do a Raviel focus as well as a Uriah focus deck.
The idea is that you can technically play them individually. You can build a deck around Raviel that spams Fiends, gets big attack, runs for game.
Okay.
You can play a more Paleozoic trap focus deck that summons Uriah and focuses on making him big as well as bringing him back.
Okay.
You can also build a deck again, as I did today, both around Hamon. But I would not recommend building a deck that goes for multiple. Because these strategies don't mesh, when you play multiples, you run the risk of not having the right strategy for the right time. You can't use this to boost your Hamon. You can't use this to bring back your Hamon. You can't use this spell card. You can negate with a Raviel. And if that's the case, you might as well be focusing on one strategy and doing that one strategy really well.
Okay, that makes sense.
In this case, it's going to be the Hamon strategy because, honestly, big attack and underpowering, this is probably still the best Sacred Beast of the three.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Including with the support, you still think Hamon is the most consistent one?
Definitely the most consistent. Like, this is technically the easiest to summon,
okay.
But arguably the fact that you had to get 3 monsters on the field to summon it compared to just set 3 spells and go,
yep.
This is still technically probably the most functional of the 3.
Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, getting back to the deck profile though, we then have 2 Fallen Paradise.
Yep.
Probably one of the best field spells I've ever seen in the game. Your Sacred Beast can't be targeted or destroyed by card effects. Great, there. Second off, if you control a Sacred Beast, you draw 2 cards.
Yep, spot agreed.
Every turn.
Okay.
That's just strong as it is. And honestly, that's like, given the fact that it's searchable by Chaos Summoning Beast, it just is great. Like, you can drop this, activate the field spell, activate Student Skyfire, and just have negation on top of protection. Really.
And then an extra draw too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the draw power obviously gets you into the hand traps, which is what you want.
Of course.
We then play one for one Foolish Burial, and 1 Foolish Burial of Goods.
Yep.
1 for 1 summons your level 1 Chaos Summoning Beast, which
yep.
technically gets you in your Fallen Paradise. Foolish Burial can either banish the dump the Dark Summoning Beast or the Chaos Summoning Beast to get their searches. And Foolish Burial of Goods is a new one I've been trying out more, just because of the fact that your opening Spirit Gates adds back a continuous spell or spell card. You can use the dumps Cerulean Skyfire and add it back to your hand.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's some use.
So it makes goods pretty much like a searcher rather than a dump. Okay.
Now, if you were also playing, if you were playing multiple Sacred Beasts, or you're just playing the actual trap card, the continuous trap card they had, that you could also dump a continuous trap and add it back to the hand as well for that one, but nah. Then we play 3 Allure Darkness. Most of your monsters are dark. Practically even your Magician's Souls are dark. So getting the Banish too, pretty decent. At worst comes to worst, you send this one with Magician's Souls. Even worse than that, you sack this as one of the cards for Hamon.
Okay.
Then from there, we play 3 Called by the Grave. Your deck, like, half your deck summoned from deck, and the other half of the deck searches. And
so you need the effects to go off.
Yeah, you getting Ash is really bad.
Okay, that makes sense.
And also getting, like, even getting your Fallen Paradise Ash kind of sucks.
Oh, because they can actually draw too, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Then we play 1 Skill Drain. As it turns out, even though Hamon's effects are decent, his effects aren't exactly, like, game-breaking anymore. Yep. So losing the effects is not the worst thing when you have a 4K beater that you have backed up by Spell and Trap Negation, so they can't really pop this.
Okay, so now you have Monster Negation in this, you have Spell and Trap Negation with Cerulean Skyfire, and then... Okay, that makes sense.
So you just generally lock down your bases that way.
And then you just slow beat down, pretty much.
Yeah, and to double down on that, we also play 3 Imperm.
Okay,
Realistically, just with the hand traps, you can technically actually play play a competitive deck and stop their turn 1.
Yep.
But realistically, you're not really going to be playing this competitively.
This is like the most competitive way to play a deck like this.
I've stretched this out as hard as I can.
All right, and then for extra deck.
Extra deck, we have 1 Solemn Mirage.
All right, so we know you don't believe in 15, but why 1?
Honestly, I like in all my testing, I summoned the extra deck just this once, and that's pretty much about it. Like, I don't play, obviously, I'm not playing more Sacred Beast, so I'm not playing Verde Anaconda to do those fusion plays.
Yep.
Honestly, like, functional stuff, like maybe Unicorn, but I never made enough monsters to want to make the Unicorn.
So this is what I would suggest, and you tell me, because it's your deck profile, but this is what I would suggest. If you decide to play this, or someone decides to play this deck at, like, a regional or, like, a local or whatever, you side Super Poly, and then you just put a bunch of Super Poly targets.
You just put in, like, you put another 13 cards to have that 14 card extra deck, and then you work with that. It's pretty much, it's things like you either can play around Burn, you can play around Super Poly. Hell, you could just play around, like, just have a bunch of extra monsters to psych your opponent out. Do what you want.
Yeah, you could do that. You could also do, on top of Super Poly, Cherries. Because Cherries could see some play right now.
Cherries there, yeah. Just whatever needs to fill that 14-card extra deck.
Okay, so perfect. Thank you for the profile. This is definitely a different way to play Sacred Beast than I've seen recently, but it does seem more consistent. Because a lot of the end boards that I've seen try to summon Hamon and Raviel, but then I was like, what does that do for you in the long run?
Even with that same combo, right? Let's say even you see that same combo, which if you want to go look at a combo video, I think everyone else has done it, so I don't think I want to. If you do want a combo video, comment obviously on it.
Okay.
But most of the combos summon Raviel or Raviel and Hamon.
Yep.
At that point, I might just summon 2 Raviel and actually have more pressure that way. If I open that and then still 2 Skyfire, I have 2 Skyfire negates.
Yeah.
So still more decent.
So this just becomes more consistent, and then okay, that makes sense. Okay, thank you for the profile, Tony. I'm sure they're gonna see a lot of you, so yeah, we'll wait. Well, you guys will see Tony soon. If you guys enjoyed this video, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and with that, Spanko, Tony, signing out.
My
Peace.
hands steady, I feel ready, but my legs heavy. I don't get it. How come I haven't hit it already? Still working, I'm still learning, I'm still searching, finally earning something, finally turning something called a profit. If I hear you talking shit, don't get caught in it. I'll be popping off and hit your ass, dropping all your shit. Yeah, I promise this, I got promises, you ain't stopping this, cross my shit.